Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 3 Tatarigoroshi. So last episode, it was pretty crazy, right? A lot of people dying, I suppose, right? Irie, he died apparently, and then Rika as well. Yes, she died and she was on the shrine grounds, right? And then for Keiichi and Satoko, it was kind of tragic and kind of sad as well because Keiichi did all of this for Satoko, right? And in the end, Satoko thought Keiichi was being possessed. Yeah, yes, him a murderer, and then she pushed him off a bridge. So let's see what happens now. I actually thought last time it would actually end because of the scenes that was happening, right? But it didn't, so let's see the continuation. My head was pounding. The sky was bright. It was cold too. It hurt. I mean, it hurt, of course. You fell from a bridge. Each sensation I felt led to a new different one awakening. When I came to, I was lying face first on a dry riverbed. A few body parts hurt a lot. The skin over a bunch of my joints was turned blue or red or oozing blood. I could tell it was my bones that were in pain from the agony I felt whenever I moved. I looked up and saw how high the bridge from which I had fallen was. Considering I dropped from here or from there, it was a miracle that I could open my eyes again. Right next to me was a broken upside down car seat which I guess some pranksters had brought here. Maybe this thing had been conveniently lying right under me, allowing me to escape instant death. Miraculous. I mean, it's a miracle though, yeah. Of course, I didn't know whether this miracle was fortunate or unfortunate. I'd failed to die and now I was still stuck in this insane world. I mean, he did say last time, right, that, oh, I wish this world would end, something like that, right? So no one would suffer what he suffered. How long had I been unconscious for? The sun was high in the sky, so it looked like only 1 or 2 hours had passed. But my sluggishness didn't make it feel at all like so short a time had gone by. Mentally, it felt like I'd been asleep here for a decade. The more feeling returned to my body, the more pain flooded in. It hurt so much, it would have been better not to have woken up. I needed to go get a doctor. Yeah, to Coach's clinic. The term Coach's clinic brought memories back one after another, memories I wish I hadn't recalled. Satoko was no longer in the bridge. She would have returned to Hinamizawa by now. And she would put on some clothes, go to the clinic, get a checkup and report on how crazy I had seemed. The police were waiting for me without a doubt. This time, would they find out for real that I killed their uncle and arrest me, or would they just send me to a mental institution like I thought they might? Still, I didn't care which it was. Please, someone stop all this pain. You can boil me or cook me. After that, whatever you want. I began to walk unsteadily, just limping along. I went downstream and then through an animal trail like path in the woods. I walked haphazardly, searching for a path I knew. Oh, we're back here now. Eventually, I finally came across a familiar road and set off towards the clinic. Not to my house, but the clinic, which had treated me like a lunatic. It was hot and it was humid. There was no wind and the air was stagnant. For a while now, I've been smelling the terrible stench of burned eggs. Burned eggs. And it made my face scrunch up. And then at last, I noticed something. I couldn't hear any cicadas. It was the first time I'd hear Hinamizawa be so utterly silent. When I thought back, it seemed like birds always chirped in the morning, cicadas always cried out loudly in the afternoon, and Higurashi always rose up in chorus in the evening, always something to hear. I couldn't hear a single insect. The only thing I could hear was the rustling of the wind brushing the treetops. I'd never experienced this sort of quiet before. Even the only sound coming from the trees lacked life somehow. The trees were yellow and Many leaves were spread on the ground despite it being too early for autumn. Even the weeds that had been growing so persistently at the side of the road had yellowed, browned, and lost their vigor. Only the sunlight itself was the June Hinamizawa I knew. And yet, it seemed like the seasons had switched all of a sudden. Looking at the fallen leaves and rotting weeds led me to a spot a few small insects turned on their backs. They weren't moving. They were corpses. What? Wait, what? Okay, it looked like I looked closer to see insect corpses scattered all around, like a child had collected them as a sample and then strewn them about. This stench, what was it? It was terrible, like burned eggs. Combined with all the bug corpses and leaves falling from the trees in the summer. Had someone sprayed the herbicide or pesticides around here? Even at school, we apparently fumigate. They call it pest disinfection or something once or twice a year. Pest control. I hadn't run into anybody despite how bright it was outside. It was mid-afternoon and yet it felt like I was sauntering about at midnight. Well, the smell, nobody would want to be walking around inside. Just what was this anyway? There was no sound. Not even a breath. Hinamizawa was silent. The school would come into view right after turning this corner. And yet, I couldn't hear any commotion at all. None of the shouts or grunts that children always made. It was simply very quiet. Just as pretending to ignore the silence had grown intolerable, I saw the school. And finally, I heard something. It was the sound of a few trucks. There were very few tall trucks parked in the schoolyard, idling. About 10 workers in raincoats were unloading things from their trucks. It was hot and humid even. In my casual clothing, I couldn't imagine how unbearable that must have been. And then I remembered. Our school was rented from the Forest Service field office building, wasn't it? It wasn't strange at all for all the Forest Service trucks to be doing some kind of work in the schoolyard. Besides, what did the forest rangers do anyway? I felt bad for them having to work in such heat and with such a stench about. They were taking colorful cargo out of the truck and lining it up in the schoolyard. They were containers, fairly large ones, inside multicolored patchwork bags. Heavy too, they were being carried in pairs. They lined them up very neatly, like tuna at a riverside fish market. Several dozens, hundreds of tuna were completely filling the fairly wide schoolyard up. I forgot my pain for a little while captivated by this big forest ranger job I'd never seen before. As I stood there watching in a daze, the people in raincoats working on the other side noticed me. One of them pointed me out and they shouted a few things back and forth. I thought they might yell at me for getting in their way, so I decided to leave post haste. But then 2 trucks drove up behind me. I stepped aside and then they entered the schoolyard. Sheets covered their trunks, but I could tell they were completely full. As they passed, there was an awful smell that made me want to choke. It wasn't the same burned eggs smell as before, but an even worse one like rotten crab meat. What on earth was it? What is happening? I had been enshrouded in one of the terrible stench after another all day. Then, certain white letters emblazoned on the other side of the passing trucks caught my eye. Ground Self-Defense Forces. What? Self-Defense Forces like the army? Why was the army in the schoolyard?
Oi, kimi. Doko kara haitte kita?
Suddenly, someone slapped me on the shoulders from behind. I turned around and a canopied SDF jeep was parked there. The SDF person had on a green raincoat and a gas mask like in the movies, carrying a compressed air cylinder. He didn't look normal. There wasn't an inch of exposed skin anywhere.
どこから入ってきた？
When I tried to talk, I stretched a wound on my head. I made the SDF people exchange glances. I couldn't see their faces through their mask, but they seemed surprised.
君はひなみ様の住民か。住所と名前は言えるか。
一応ここに住んでますけど、名前は前原圭一です。あ、住所は獅子骨市ひなみ沢村。
After seeing me tell them my name and address, without hesitation, one of the SDF people watching from the jeep started talking to the radio.
本部、応答願います。本部、応答願います。402生存者発見。
I mean, 402 survivor. What?
繰り返す。402生存者発見。
What happened?
場所は営林署入り口前。
本部了解。生存者を至急保護されたし。生存者の容体は
Okay, man, I don't know what is happening right now.
生存者は健在。
Healthy? I fell off a bridge. What do you mean healthy?
全身に外傷を認められるも生命に支障なし。自立歩行可能。これより保護し本部へ送致します。
I was prepared to go along with the police, but the SDF. Yeah, it is military. I couldn't help but think it seemed a little bit much. They urged me into the back of the jeep, and then they told me to put on this gigantic gas mask. I did so, and one of the troops fiddled around with it, strapping it tightly to me. It was heavy, hard to see out of, and hot and difficult to breathe. Just looking at the world through the lenses made it lose its sense of reality. My breathing sounded like some giant monster through the mask. At this point, I had no idea what was happening. With much trepidation, I asked the trooper adjusting the mask.
すみません。何かあったんですか？
君はどこにいたんだ？何をしていたんだ？
Hey, don't answer a question with more questions. I was the one asking you.
ずっと山に入ったところにある吊り橋から落っこちて、河原で多分気絶してました。今日が何曜日かもよくわからないです。
今日は昭和58年の6月22日。水曜日だ。
And that surprised me. Sadako pushed me off on the bridge on Tuesday the 21st. So yeah, I've been asleep on that riverbed for an entire day.
改めて聞きますけど、何があったんですか？なんで自衛隊が来てるんです？何かの訓練ですか？
Had my question been that difficult for him? None of the troopers would answer me. The one in the driver's seat, why is it different now? What is happening? Talking on his own radio, turned on the vehicles. He turned the dial and some broadcast station or another came in. I started to listen to the voice of the radio announcer I was familiar with.
より首相官邸で行われました。記者団からの自衛隊の災害出動が迅速に行われなかったことが前例のない未曾有の大災害に直結したのではないかとの質問に対し、奥野官房長官は次のようにコメントしました。
でありまして、県知事からの派遣要請を受けて迅速に対応したものと思っております。
と、このように述べ、要請を受けてからの自衛隊の出動は迅速であった。むしろ、県側の事態把握に遅れがあった可能性を示唆しました。そもそも、自衛隊の派遣を要請した県知事は、災害発生から前例のない大災害であることをいつ認識できたのか、そして、災害派遣要請までにいわゆるお役所的なロスタイムが生じ、被害の拡大を招いたのではないか、今後の究明が待たれています。首相官邸より報道部の尾形記者がお送りしました。さて、ここでもう一度災害発生からの行政の対応を振り返ります。
Okay, here we go.In the middle of the night, between June 21 and 22, a large-scale disaster broke out in Inamizawa village, Shishibone. The details have not yet been investigated, but there was an eruption of volcanic gas? What? From somewhere in Hinamizawa area. Weren't they joking like some volcanoes in Hinamizawa in the beginning of this chapter, and now there's actually volcanic gas? Are you serious? The gas was relatively heavy, and as it spewed out, it began to flow. The flow went down along a small river and headed directly into the Hinamizawa village. After a few hours, it had covered the entire region. It happened in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Every home and household in the village was afflicted. With most of the residents asleep, it is thought that they all died without noticing the crisis. What? All of them died? Then are you serious? You remember Keiichi saying in the last part of last episode that he wanted this I guess village to end, and now all of the people died now? There's answers to this, man. It can't be that one. It can't be that. The catastrophe striking in the middle of the night caused its detection to come too late. But there was still one small opportunity to have noticed. 3 a.m., a news dealer shop in Okonomiya sent a vehicle carrying the morning newspaper to its branch office in Hinamizawa. Usually, the shop would be contacted upon the vehicle's arrival, but this morning that didn't happen. The news dealer shop made repeated calls but got no response. The shopkeeper sent his oldest son to check on things, but they lost contact with him either. He went there and he died as well. Oh my god.
非常に悔やまれています。この時点で警察か消防への連絡があったなら、事態はもっと改善されていた可能性が高いでしょう。少なくとも村全滅という惨劇は免れた可能性があります。
6 a.m., residents in the areas in the same region began continuously calling 119 to report the smell of rotten eggs, dizziness, nausea, and headaches. The fire department received the same reports, all from the same confined region. They speculated a truckload with chemicals may have gotten into an accident and reported it to the local police. Contact was lost with a patrol car on duty in the Hinamizawa area after the officer reported the smell of rotten eggs. The local police considered the possibility of a large-scale disaster involving highly lethal gas and reported it to the prefecture and the prefectural police at 7:15 a.m. 8 a.m. The governor was traveling to a nearby prefecture for inspection, so in accordance with regulations, the prefectural environment disaster prevention chief was provisionally escalated to Director General and set up a disaster countermeasure office. However, without contacting the governor, the countermeasures came too late.
近年市民団体によって指摘されていますが、議員待遇者との視察旅行は完全に親睦を目的にしたもので、主演三昧だと噂されています。近い筋の話では、知事は徹夜で飲んだくれて泥酔状態で就寝していたそうです。環境部長から電話があった時も泥酔していて、全く取り合ってもらえなかったのだそうです。
And so, the authorities in the hour or so it took for the governor to grasp the situation and sober up did nothing but accumulate information.
知事は言うに及びませんが、知事不在時には本部長を務めることになる環境部長にも怠慢の責任が問われるでしょう。また、県としても大災害を想定したマニュアルが用意されておらず、対応が常に後手に回ってしまったのが致命的でした。
9:12 a.m. On the advice of the prefectural police, the governor requested a disaster relief mission from the SDF. By the time the chemical defense unit equipped with protective equipment arrived on the scene, 8 hours had already passed since the incident's outbreak.
とにかく深夜の就寝中というのは不運でした。同じ災害でも日中に起こっていれば全く違ったでしょう。
All households in the Hinamizawa village region were wiped out. Damn. There were over 1,000 victims. The SDF is still confirming the situation on the ground, but their results are predicted to only increase the number.
スタジオにはゲストとして火山性の災害にお詳しい地学博士の藤原先生にお越しいただいております。
河口部に限定して申し上げれば決して珍しいことではありません。火山大国日本にはたくさんの活火山がありますが、それらの河口部はいずれも危険なガスの噴出する危険性があり、一般登山者も河口部周辺には立ち入らないのが一般的です。
では今回ひなみ沢村を襲った卵のフラン臭のするガスというのも河口部では一般的なガスということですか？
卵のフラン臭という特徴から、おそらく火山ガスの中でも事故例の多い硫化水素によるものだと考えられます。高い濃度であれば非常に危険なものです。
ひなみ沢村は火山の河口部とは全く縁遠い場所にあるわけですが、そういった河口部でない場所にもその硫化水素が発生することがあるのでしょうか？
詳しいことが分かっていないので、まだはっきりとしたことは申し上げられませんが、外国の例で温泉の地下のマグマだまりからガスが噴出したという記録があります。極めて希少な例ですが、必ずしも河口部でなくても発生の可能性はあるということです。
先生、ありがとうございました。今防衛庁から発表があった模様です。防衛庁の森川さん。
はい、防衛庁です。先ほど防衛庁はひなみ沢村ガス災害の主原因となった火山性ガスについて、陸上自衛隊科学学校での分析の結果、二酸化炭素と硫化水素の混合ガスによるものだったと発表しました。
Wait, what? Miss Morikawa, but the one talking is a guy, though. What?
森川さん、そのガスは依然として噴出を続け、周囲に拡大しているのでしょうか？
現在ひなみ沢村で救助活動に入っている自衛隊第9師団の報告として、ガスの濃度は徐々に薄まりつつある、これ以上の被害の拡大はないと発表しました。ですが依然ひなみ沢村地区は危険な状態にあることには変わりなく、今後も注意深く監視を続ける必要があるようです。
防衛庁から報道部の森川記者がお伝えしました。続きまして、避難を余儀なくされている沖宮地区住民の模様をリポートします。現在避難所の一つとなっている下篠崎小学校に報道部の現地記者がお伝えいたします。
何ですかそれ。
Inside the jeep, clambering and bouncing along the rough road, none answered my muttered question. An unprecedented catastrophe had destroyed Hinamizawa in a single night. Where was Hinamizawa village anyway? Someplace deep in the mountains, right? Names of places I heard about on the radio were always like that. They were all places I'd never heard of, much less knew the locations of. Wiped out? What does that mean? Don't they usually say how many died and how many were injured? How many people were alive? Where did everyone evacuate to? Eventually we came to view of the coach's clinic. For the first time, I saw the flag of Japan hanging on a pole outside. Japan's circular sun hung down as though exhausted. Many SDF tents were set up in the clinic's big parking lot, and many strict security vehicles were parked there as well. When they saw the jeep coming, men in white clothing and gas masks came running out of the clinic, frantic, carrying a stretcher.
もう大丈夫だよ。具合は歩けるかい？
歩けます。あいてて。
And because of my owls, they forced me to lay in the stretcher anyway. People who seemed like doctors were looking at me and notifying others of my condition via radio.
外傷多数。骨折もしくは内臓損傷の可能性大。頭部に大きな裂傷。瞳孔正常。眼底に出血なくも脳内損傷の可能性は否定できず。
I mean, he definitely has brain damage. And then from the clinic entrance, people lying in stretchers were brought outside to replace me. Judging by their clothing, they were from Hinamizawa, and that's how I knew they were victims. They brought the stretchers in front of a truck. Two troops holding shoulders and legs like some kind of baggage picked them up and threw them into the trunk. In the trunk of the truck, people's bodies piled in heaps. They were just like baggage, and that told me they were already nothing but shells. At that moment, I remembered all those colorful sacks filling the trunks and them lined up in the schoolyard like a fish market. Also, all of those were bodies. Hundreds of empty shells. Corpses. Where do you even bring those, right?
バカ！犠牲者を粗末に扱うな。彼は村の住民だぞ。
Yeah, have respect a little bit, man. The troops carrying the sack answered with a humble salute. The world didn't need this insane version of Hinamizawa. My final wish, yeah. He said that last time, right? It was granted. I didn't understand anything anymore. None of it mattered. I wished, I cursed, and then it happened the next day. Then please tomorrow morning let me die. He's gonna die. This chapter, man, is making us believe that all of this is Keiichi's wish. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think so though. There are answers to this. We just need to see it in the other chapters. In the answer arcs, I mean. That insane night is still going on. Please end it already.
Oi, 意識が損失したぞ。患者の名前を呼びかけろ。早く。
前原君、聞こえるかい？聞こえるなら瞬きでいいからしてくれ。前原君、前原君、前原君。
Suddenly the world didn't matter to me anymore. I wasn't interested in their cries.
呼吸が停止したぞ。気道確保。人工呼吸。絶対に行かせ。畜生。もうこれ以上死者はごめんだぞ。死んでもいい命なんかないんだ。殺すな。
I could hear the voice of a man crying and screaming in my ears. Nobody deserves to die. Those words came from his heart. They were so commonplace and they soaked into my heart too. Maybe it was a mistake to take someone's life, even if it was to save Satoko. If this is the price I had to pay, this horrible tragedy, then this is a little much, Oyashiro-sama, or a little too much. Why did you never punish me? Come to think of it, Satoko said something. Oyashiro-sama's actual curse never goes for the target at first, but kills everyone they love before that. Oyashiro-sama's curse. It was a convenient excuse. I told myself at the very end that it wasn't my curse that destroyed it, but Oyashiro-sama's. Given that I was in a stretcher, this next bit might have been obvious. But last of all, I realized one thing. Yeah, today I had not heard those footsteps following me, even once. And now I was liberated. As the cries of the Higurashi I couldn't have been hearing filled my mind. Their tearful ensemble was the only funeral march I had. Okay, June 22, 1983, early morning. A widespread disaster occurred in the Hinamizawa village, Shishibone Prefecture. Volcanic gas, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide erupted from the Onagafuchi swamp, one of the Hinamizawa area's water sources, and spread through the entire village. There were 1,200 victims. 20 have gone missing. The catastrophe was unprecedented, forcing local governments to evacuate approximately 600,000 people. According to later investigations, magma pools and hot springs were uncovered directly under Origafuchi Swamp. The gas that gushed from it was determined to be the cause of the disaster. In addition, directly after the incident broke, many came forth claiming this disaster was a curse based in Hinamizawa village legends, first sparking a wave of chaos. There were apparently local legends of a curse spreading a miasma destroying the village, and some scholars believe a similar gas disaster may have happened in the past and remained a part of these legends. More extreme periodicals suggested that this was an extension of the string of freak death incidents that have been happening in the recent years in Hinamizawa village, steering interesting theories about this curse of Oyashiro-sama. In addition, relatives of those in Hinamizawa village who had escaped the disaster complained of sickness afterwards and were hospitalized. Some of them even died of unknown causes. Further encouraging such extreme opinions. On top of that, several relatives professing to be possessed by Oyashiro-sama's curse committed suicide in strange ways. And the impact the disaster has had on the entire nation can no longer be ignored. Wild visions of terrible toxic gas sneaking around the middle of the night, killing people, spilled across the country, causing a steady stream of people complaining of insomnia, difficulty breathing, headache and dizziness, etc. Some who identified themselves as being obsessed by it began odd things. Most of these were mistakenly attributed by tabloid press, but afterward, some even began to call the mental issues arising from the Hinamizawa tragedy the Hinamizawa Syndrome. The Hinamizawa village region, the object of all kinds of rumors and speculations, is currently closed off, and even flying overhead is prohibited. The prohibition was at one point undone as a result of a decrease in the gas's density, but that autumn, another gas burst was confirmed, leading to the area being cordoned off again. Word is that the area is sound asleep, all traces of its former life intact and left to rot. Very sad though, but yeah, what the hell? Only one survivor remains, Keiichi Maibara, age 1. But yeah, why do they hide this one? Age, the dates, they sometimes hide it. What is the point of hiding it? Who lived at the Hinamizawa village? At the time of rescue, he had some trouble breathing due to fluid buildup in his lungs, but as a result of life-saving procedures, he was kept alive. He is currently in a general hospital somewhere in the prefecture. The press have been asking him for some time, but all interviews are being refused. What did he see in Hinamizawa? What happened between June 21 and 22 in Hinamizawa village? Today he remains silent, unwilling to speak of it. Memoriam list. Jiro Tomitake. Oh, we're actually seeing, okay, Miyu Takano. What is that thing under the... I can't read that. What the hell is that? Kurado Oishi, he went missing. Kumatani, that's his partner, I guess, right? Missing. Irie suicide. Rika murdered. Now this is the gas disaster. Reina Ryugu, Rena, she died. Mion, her grandma Oreo. Satoko died as well, went missing. Hojo went missing as well. Ichiro Aiko, Tomita Okamura, the teacher, Kimiyoshi. Wait, Kameda is dead? Wait, isn't Kameda from Okonomiya? Kasai Shion Sunozaki committed suicide at the victim's hospital? Keiichi Maibara attempted suicide. A severe mental... Why is it so fast? I cannot read. Can I go back? I wanted to read that. Why is it so fast? Why is it like a credits now? Could we just... Like, what do you call this? Like click so we can read. My god. What is this even, this language written here? Thank you, Owasa Haruba. How do you even read? I don't know. 7 expansion directed by Ryukishi 07. Yeah, the master, I suppose, right? Dude, I wanted to see that, man. It was so fast. I'll check it later, but I couldn't see. But yeah, all of our friends are dead. Even Kamida. Kamida is, remember when we did baseball in the beginning of this chapter, right? Yeah, that was Kamida, right? 2003. June XX. An elderly couple living in the Osaka prefecture discovered a cassette tape while organizing the possessions of their son who passed away 8 years ago. Oh, 2003. Okay. Their son went missing when his fishing boat capsized in 1995. He was 47 at the time of his death. 8 years later, in 2003, they had begun to organize their son's remains in order to organize their minds and came across the cassette tape in question. From 1975 to 89, the deceased had experience working as a journalist for photography periodical, and this tape is thought to have been created during that time. The label on the tape read Keiichi Maibara. What? It is thought the tape was recorded during an interview with Keiichi Maibara, the only survivor of the Great Inamizawa disaster that occurred in June of 1983. As the only person who lived through the disaster in the night, June 21, shrouded in mystery, many interested parties attempted to question him, but he never once spoke physically to anyone in a public place. Therefore, the tape caused quite a stir, possibly being of extremely high value. Let me see. Click.
なんだか録音されてると思うとすごく喋りにくいですね。
気にしない。ほら、こうすれば録音してるのも気にならないでしょ。
After this, the sound quality dramatically decreases. Did he cover the reading or device with something?
じゃあ始めるね。まず最初の質問から。圭一君はあの大災害の夜どこにいたのかな？
神社から裏に抜けてずっと林道を進んで吊り橋があるんですよ。山に入る少し前に。そこから落ちて気を失ってました。
それは大災害の夜、つまり21日から22日にかけての深夜のこと？
いいえ、21日の火曜日の朝です。それで次の日の昼間に目を覚ましたわけですから、1日半はそこで気を失ってたと思います。
どうしてそんなところに？誰もが持つ疑問だけど、当日は平日で、しかも落ちた橋は君の家と学校からは大きく離れているよね。ざっくばらんに言って、君が大災害の発生を事前に知っていて、村から逃げる途中に吊り橋から落ちたんじゃないかっていう声もあるんだけど。
冗談じゃないです。勝手なことを言わないでください。
私も随分ひどい言い分だと思うよ。気を悪くしないでね。さて、次に圭一君が落ちたという吊り橋なんだけど、地図で言うとここだよね。神社の裏から林道を抜けて至る吊り橋というのは。
多分、俺もあんまり行かないところなので自信はないですが。
そんなに行かないところにどうして平日の朝に行ったのか疑問は尽きないけどな。それでこの君が気絶していたという河原なんだけど、実はそれはありえないという噂は知っているかい？
ありえない。またありえないですか。まだ。
For a little while, Keiichi Maibara mutters the word impossible several times.
どうしてありえないと？
火山ガスが発生したのは鬼ヶ淵という沼なのは知ってるよね。それで 学者の先生が緻密な模型を使ってシミュレーションをしたら興味深いことが分かったんだってさ。例の火山ガスってのは空気よりも重いらしくて、地形に沿って低いところへ低いところへ流れ込む水みたいな性質があるんだってさ。それで発生源の鬼ヶ淵沼からそういうガスが噴出し、どれくらいの時間をかけて村を覆うのか実験がされたんだ。そしたらさ、君が気絶していたという河原、流れ込むんだよ、ガスが。
よく言ってる意味がわからないんですが。
つまり、君が本当にこの河原で気絶していたなら、君は丸一晩、猛毒の火山ガスの中にいたことになるんだよ。だからつまり、君がここで気絶をしていた可能性は否定されたわけさ。もっとざっくばらんに言うよ。私はね、君が嘘をついているんじゃないかなって思うんだ。君は大災害の時、安全なところに身を潜めていて、ガスが薄れた頃合いを見計らって村に現れて自衛隊の人に保護された。どうかな？図星かな？
For a short time, the journalist presses Keiichi Maibara further in a teasing way, but all that can be heard are heavy sighs.
別に仮にそうだったとしても、俺は今更驚きませんけどね。
驚かないとはどういう意味だい？
Was this
あん
recording
たもさっき言いましたよね。
okay? Really taken of Keiichi Maibara? Some harbor suspicions.
ありえないって。あのひなみ沢ではありえないことなんていくらでも起こるんです。あそこじゃいないはずの場所に人がいる。死んだはずの人が生きてる。そんなこと珍しいことじゃないんですよ。まさか俺自身が死んだはずなのに生きているってやつを立証しようとはね。
No, he's laughing as well. The journalist and Keiichi Maibara both laugh for a while.
じゃあ、ケイイチ君、
Okay.
話を変えるよ。
To verify its authenticity, I had the others in the Maibara family check the tapes with his voice in it. However, the sound was not clear, and much time had passed, so the relatives I checked with couldn't remember what he sounded like. I was unable to gain positive proof it was actually his voice.
あの大災害がひなみ沢連続開始事件の5年目のたたりではないかという話についてはどう思う？
いや、それはないですね。5年目のたたりは俺ですから。
え？何のこと？
何のことって、あんたの話に対する答えですよ。あの大災害は、まあ、言っても信じないでしょうけど。
Doubts also remain regarding the date 11/28 written on the tape.
俺が起こしたんです。俺がね、こんな村、丸ごと死んじまえって願ったから起こったんです。
そりゃ豪快な話だね。
公開？そういう面白い言い方もあるんですね。高野さんも俺が殺したし、監督も大石も俺が殺した。
After Maibara Keiichi's failed suicide attempt on a certain day, August Day 2, months after the disaster, he was diagnosed with a mental disorder and transported to a treatment facility.
あの時の俺にはね、 何か神がかり的な力が宿ってたんですよ。そう。例えるなら、足音かな。
足音ってなんだいそれ。
あんた、足音を聞いたこともないんですか？ペタペタ、ひたひた。
The facility never
あんたも
allowed.
歩いてるとき、不意に立ち止まってみると面白いですよ。
Okay, the facility never allowed any news coverage, so it's extremely unlikely that a tape from the media dated after August 1983 would have his voice on it.
それでね、自分がちゃんと立ち止まったにもかかわらず、足音が一つ余計に聞こえたなら、気をつけた方がいいですよ。
そうだね。気をつけるようにするよ。
そんなに俺、面白いこと話してますか
？However, the reporter had been
さっき
criticized.
からヘラヘラと笑ってばかりですね。
Okay, however, the reporter has been criticized for his forceful methods collecting data while he was active, so there is still a possibility that he broke into the facility and forced Keiichi Maibara to talk.
監督と同じだ。俺のことを同情したり、話を聞いたりしてるふりをしながら、その実、人のことを異常者扱いしてる目だ。
そんなことはないよ。
いや、俺にはわかるんです。あんたの目は監督と同じだ。あの日以来、もう足音は聞こえない。
Is this truly Keiichi Maibara's voice? The authenticity of this recording is still wrapped in mystery.
だから俺にはもう、あんな恐ろしい力は残ってないだろうけど。今ここでもう一度、あんたの死を願ってみるよ。俺に不愉快な話ばかりをする、あんたの死を。そうだな。今回は一つ、死に方も決めてみようかな。高野さんは焼け死にだったから。じゃああんたは逆に水だ。
Oh, did it actually happen? It actually happened, right?
水に溺れて死ぬってのはどうだい？絶好調だった当時の俺なら、次の朝までには必ず死んでる。
15 years after this tape was created, the reporter, just as Keiichi Maibara had predicted, died in an accident out on the sea.
さてあんたは、何日後に水で死ぬかな
My god, his face. Look at this. Insanity.
あんたも気をつけろよ。俺ごときにたたり殺されるな。
The recording ends in the middle of Keiichi Maibara's laughter. And Keiichi Maibara? Late on the night of 11/30, 1983, 2 days after the interview, he suddenly died of high fever? Records made the strange word he kept giving after pressing the call button the day before he died. An extra... Okay.
また一つ余計に。
Okay, this footsteps, what is it? He keeps saying this footsteps, right? The whole not a whole, but yeah, most of it. Higurashi when they cry. End. Chapter 3, I mean, finished. Yeah, damn. Insanity. Insanity. The hell happened, man? A lot of people died. And then Keiichi died as well in the ending. I cannot wait to see the mystery being answered in this one. Like, I can't really wait. I want to see it now, but yeah, we still have a couple chapters, right? And I don't even know what, yeah, the last 4 chapters are going to be answer arcs, right? So they're going to be answering it. I don't even know what chapter is going to be for answering this particular chapter, like what happened with this part. But yeah, I guess we will have to see, right? But damn though. And the other people that they were missing, right? Like Satiko, I think on was written there was missing, Oishi missing. Damn. It's just sad they died like that. Like Keiichi wished it, and then all of them are gone, basically, right? So in this one, they are pretty much like saying like, oh, Keiichi is the curse. He wished for these people to die, and they died, and he wished for the village to disappear, or yeah, get destroyed or something like that. And it happened, right? And what do you call this? For the second chapter, they pretty much like said to us that it was a demon, right? Like for Mion, it was a demon, and yeah, that was like the main stuff there. And this one, it was a curse, a really big curse. That it was Keiichi. He said all of that, and it did happen. I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard to say what happened in this chapter, honestly. Not gonna lie, but yeah, we'll do the all cast review. I mean, in the next one, I can't wait to see what they're gonna say about this, right? And I'll just give my thoughts there, I suppose. So yeah, we're gonna continue this and finish up Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 3, Tatarigoroshi in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.